Hello, welcome to CLSB Politics. Sean Briscoe speaking. This is my continued series on the One Big Beautiful Bill and its effect on various different aspects of the country. This one's going to be focused on healthcare. One of the bigger, I think, changes that were made with the Medicaid, Medicare, and all of that. So specifically, I'm going to focus on rural healthcare. It's because that's where the Republican votes come from. And I know that the cities are going to get hit as well, and I will do another show on that. But rural counties don't have the resources that urban and suburban counties do. So, and that's where the votes for these Republicans who voted for this nonsense come from. So it's important that we look where they should care, where their constituency is sitting. So very quickly, let's talk about what is rural healthcare in general. So what we're looking at here is about, and these are numbers from 2019 is the best I could find at the moment. You've got your rural, state, and local government makes up about 34%. Nonprofits make up 55%. And then investor-owned for-profit hospitals make up 10%. Now, this is pre-COVID, so these numbers will have changed a bit. The U.S. rural community hospitals by bed size can vary quite a bit. The vast majority of them are under 25 staffed beds, so they're relatively small. Some of them, about 16%, exceed 100 beds, which would be actually pretty large. Probably affiliated with some other piece of infrastructure, a military base or something like that. So total rural hospitals in America as of just before this bill was passed, it was 2,207. Actually, I have an itemized spreadsheet on all of them and the urban ones too. But like I said, we're just doing rural. The first wave of closures, based on the math that I've seen, is about 338 rural hospitals that are considered, financially in trouble. That even before this bill, they were on the edge, and this one will easily push them over. So 338 in the first wave. Now, by the end of 2027, my best guess, and now it's getting real guessy because I'm not sure what each state's going to do as far as solving some of these problems. But based on the math as it is today, another 225 hospitals will close by the end of 2027, and about 185 rural hospitals will close by the end of 2028. Now, who's got the best and who's got the worst healthcare in the country? So I pulled this up. It's pretty good. It's 10, anything blue is got good healthcare. Anything red or dark red is bad. You can see that there's a bunch out there that don't really, they're kind of just in the middle. But the ones that are in red are definitely in red. And there's some here that just lack data and information. So for a fact, I know Louisiana's also red. I know Florida's got some real problems, but they aren't represented on this graph. But so there are more here for sure. So the estimated cuts to Medicaid by state, it's as low as 6%, and that would be like Wyoming, Alabama, Florida, and as high as 21%, which would be like Louisiana, Virginia. I think those are and Illinois gets hit pretty hard. Those are the true. Nevada is also bad. Arizona is really bad. But what I found out was the hits are different in different states based on how many total hospitals they actually have. Like Texas makes the top 20 number of hospitals that are going to close total, but since it has like 160 rural hospitals, 15 of them close is not such a big deal. Now, I do want to inject just a little bit of politics into this one. I know I'm going to go into deeper in another video on the political ramifications of the OBBB, but these are the 4 toss-up U.S. Senate seats that are definitely in play. And I believe there will be more, and I'll show you some of those here later in this video. And then we will go into a lot more detail in the future video. So, so these are the states that have seats, Senate seats up for grabs this cycle. So as you can see, it's quite a few. A lot of them are held by the Republicans. In fact, the Republicans are really in defense mode. Like they passed that crappy healthcare bill that really didn't have any tax breaks at all. Not for anyone that you'll ever know, right? Unless I have a random billionaire watching my channel, and if so, any contribution would be appreciated. But I've got nothing but red states, pretty much. And then there's those gray states, and I'll blow this up a little bit. These gray states, Georgia, North Carolina, Maine, and Michigan, are considered in play, but likely to go either. They're kind of in the zone. But then you've got another 7 that there's a chance. They got problems, changes in demography. The incumbents are in a primary. That's like Texas, for example. They make that group of 7 that are looking different. In fact, Colin Allred outpolls everyone but the current Republican sitting in that seat as far as the U.S. Senate race in Texas goes. So Ken Paxton's welcome to win that primary as far as I'm concerned. I think that would be brilliant. Thank you, Ken. So real quick, Maine, which is one of those 4, Susan Collins, who's sitting in that seat, who's always very concerned, but votes with the Republicans and screws us all over regularly. She's only losing 2 out of 25, but it is 2 out of 25. So it is 4% of her rural, 8% of her rural hospitals, almost 10% are going to go. This is all first wave, mind you. These are all the ones that are in trouble and are probably going to fold, but they only have 25. So what kind of impact these 2 are going to have, it's hard to say. Then we've got Michigan. Michigan's got a 4 out of 67, also not that hard of hit. But keep in mind, Michigan's had a pretty rough run of it, Detroit and all that. And a lot of their hospitals have been closing. So Georgia, 4 out of 74 rural hospitals are in real trouble and likely to close because of these bills. I'm also listing the low and high end estimate of how much money each state's going to lose. So going back to Maine's going to lose somewhere between $2 and $4 billion. Michigan, on the other hand, is going to lose somewhere between $25 and $41 billion. So you can see there's a real big difference in how much money they're going to lose, and that's going to change the math, and it's incredibly hard to predict. But right now, if you just look at the math before the bill, there were 4 that were definitely in trouble, and those are the 4 I'm assuming are definitely going to close. So yeah, Georgia is going to lose between $7 and $12 billion. Also, they had 4 that were really in trouble. Those 4 are going to be gone for sure. Now, that's not to say they're the only 4. There will be more. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But and then of course North Carolina, which is going to lose somewhere between 19 and 33 billion. When you have like a 10-14 billion dollar spread like that, that's a lot of hospitals that could close potentially. And you gotta understand, a lot of that's going to hit urban. Most of this money is going to hit urban counties first, because that's just where more people are. That's where more services are rendered. So, but if you just look at rural, 5 out of the 57 are in real trouble. Now, the states most hard hit in this bill are kind of interesting, especially when you consider the Senate map. Real quick, before I get into that, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. If you wish to support this channel, you can donate on PayPal at CLSB Politics. Keep in mind, I am not monetized by YouTube. So if you've seen any commercials on my show, I definitely didn't get any of that. Thank you. So highest hit. And the reason Rand Paul voted against this bill is 38 out of his 73 rural hospitals are on the chopping block. Like, these are the ones that were in trouble already. That's crazy. That's insanely hardcore. And this is by far one of the worst hit states. So I'm not sure what Paul's going to do about this, but Senator Paul better figure something out. That's also a state that's up for election for the U.S. Senate seat. So if I'm a Democrat, I would definitely reach out to rural counties, especially in about 8 or 9 months. They're going to be in trouble. Also, California, not surprising. But what was interesting is the number of urban versus rural hospitals. Their cities and suburbs are so enormous that they envelop a lot of hospitals. So 20 out of 58 is not a small number. And those are in rural communities. But there's California's got a deep bench as far as hospitals goes. This is going to hurt. This is really going to hurt. And in other videos, I'm going to talk about the economic impact of how many jobs are going to be lost because of this in every state. But 28 out of 58, they're going to feel it. Indiana, relatively small state, not a lot of population, 12 out of 56. That's solid 20% gone. It's pretty hard to think that they're not going to be impacted. Louisiana, the home of the congressman that literally pushed this bill, the Speaker Johnson, is from Louisiana, and 33 out of 57 of his rural hospitals are going to close. That's crazy to me. I can't even. Now, New Mexico has rural hospitals. They've got 15 out of 28. That's more than half. New Mexico's also got a Senate seat in play in 2026. I think that's going to be a big factor. Oklahoma also has a Senate seat in play in 2026. They're going to lose 21 out of 28. That's 1 out of 4. That's really hard. And some of those hospitals were in a lot of trouble, a whole lot more trouble, because I've got the spreadsheets. Some of those are deep dark in the red, even before all this went down. So that's a solid 21 guaranteed. And then Washington State, 14 out of 45. Most of those are going to be on the other side of the mountains. If you don't know Washington, it's most of the population is along the coast, and then you go over the mountains, and it's mostly rural and agriculture, and that's where those hospitals are. So you can imagine having a health issue and having to climb over the Rocky Mountains to get to a hospital. It could be a real problem, and they're losing 1 out of 4. So my thoughts on this are that the Republicans have really stepped in it. I just don't see how this isn't going to affect both congressional seats, Senate seats, all across the country. And this is just how many are closing. Now I want you guys to really think hard. How many jobs are each one of those hospitals responsible for in rural counties? And then how many of those people go to the grocery store, go to the restaurants, and all the jobs that are involved in that? All the trickle down economics of rural communities is very direct. And these jobs in the healthcare industry make up a large portion. It's agriculture, it's healthcare, and it's government. Those are the 3 best paying jobs that you can get. And honestly, healthcare, and I'll get into this in the next video, the economics of healthcare have changed so much in the last 10, 20 years. It's actually one of our number 1 industries in most states in this country. So that'll all play out. Again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. If you wish to support this channel, you can go to PayPal at CLSP Politics. All right. Have a great day.